Hello, everyone. John Doyle from Optics EQ, and welcome to another video race of the day. This is going to be Gulfstream Park on January 19th, Wednesday. It's going to be race 3, very competitive, small field. Recent video race of the day has been getting a lot of scratches off the turf, off the whatever, but hopefully the principles don't change in the way we're handicapping it. So unfortunately, just haven't got some good racing lately. But we pick a dirt race, so not likely this is going to get taken off anywhere. So let's look at it. First, I want you to notice that the plot fit is a green. And I want you to show you visually, there's a white line and you can kind of see it. It goes from all the way left, diagonally right. And I'm going to just draw a line. You see how well the horses line up on the line here. So that will tells us how good of a plot fit this race is. And so typically, the order of the way these horses are going to run is going to be pretty more predictable than not. So we have 6, 4, and 7 as our kind of early pace. 1 will be our presser, stalker, and then we got 2 and 3 as our closers in this race. And I think in this race there might be some opportunity with some longer price horses, and I'm going to show you why I think that just based on my analysis. So I'm going to start off with the early pace. You can see the number 6 looks like the speed of the speed, right? He's highest, a little more to the left than everybody else, and then you have the 4. But the 4 is a square. Now, you notice the run styles. There's only 4 horses that have run styles, and I'm not sure they're all accurate right now. And that's because these horses haven't run much. So always give credence that when these horses are lightly raced, that the run styles may all be off, right? Because they really haven't established form yet. But I'm going to look at the grid because I think the 6 might be better than the 4 and the 7. First of all, if you look at the debut of number 6, this horse ran in a maiden special weight. We know those are better than maiden claimer. Today's a maiden claimer. And you could see the actual optic fig range of that race was 76 to 84. Compare that to number 4, the other speed horse, Shawnee Princess, was 70 to 78. So we know that the 6 was coming out of a better race than the 4 based on that. Also look at the race shape of that race. So for the 4, it was fast. For the 6, very fast. And you can see the 6 was first to quit. He was in a 3-way duel. She was in a 3-way duel and just backed up and really didn't get a push late in the stretch. And that's why she kind of was beaten pretty badly. She wasn't really competing late in that race. She's going to cut back from 6 to 5.5. I think that's a positive. And I think the drop is going to help her. Where the 4 was competitive all the way, but again, the pace was softer early. And the other thing about her is that was a maiden claiming race already. So she's not dropping like the 6 is. And again, the race just based on the optics figs wasn't as competitive as the race the 6 is coming out of. So even though the 4 is a square, she didn't have to go as fast and didn't have as much competition as this 6 had early on. So that's why she was able to probably finish better. And you could, the 6 finish was probably could have been better if they didn't just kind of ease up on her late because she wasn't competitive. So I think that the 6 is the speed of the speed. And even though the 4 is a square, if we go back to the plot, if the 6 beats the 4, that square is not going to mean anything, right? Because she's going to be in chase mode and she'll tire too. The 7 just visually doesn't look to keep up and doesn't look like he has the finishability of the 4 or the 6. So kind of negative on that one. The 1 looks like this horse could sit a really perfect trip. Just look at the plot, sitting right off of those horses and ahead of the 2 closers. And if you look at the form of the 1, I think this is worth looking at her form a little bit more closely. So she, early in her career, they thought she was turf, whatever reason. And if you just say, hey, look, just that wasn't what she wanted. Turf wasn't what she wanted. Then you get to the race at Keeneland, the dirt race. It was a maiden claimer, but this number was heavily deflated. 62 was not right based on the way these horses come back. So come to the timing of the race or whatever. But on average, the horses coming out of that race improved 15 points. She actually improved 21 in her next race when she ran an 83 at Churchill, and she was against the flow and she broke slow. And you notice she broke slow in her first 2 dirt races, which is negative. Okay, especially since she's breaking from the rail today. They switched her to Gulfstream Park, and she was in the same race as the number 6 that day, the one that we talked about being the speed of the speed. And she broke well. Okay, she broke on top for temporarily, and then she kind of fell back to 4th in the first call. The problem was she was in a really good position on the turn, mid to late turn, and she just started getting that kickback in her, and she kind of fell back and just never really recovered. She did recover enough to pass the 6 late, but the kickback definitely impacted her performance. So if she can get, again, a stalking trip, maybe behind the 4 and the 6, and then, be able to avoid some dirt in her face and be able to get out there, she could run that one down, the 6 down late. So I'm thinking she's a viable contender, especially at a big morning line of 8-1. She's probably going to be a good price, a decent price. So she's a contender in here. Again, a horse that's dropping in class from those maiden special and has a little bit dirtied up form and plots, beautifully. Okay. So for me, she's the other one. Just to look at the closers in this race, the 2 and the 3, the 2 with the drop, I know was a long layoff. Maybe she improves, but she didn't run that great off the drop. Expected a better performance there than the 68. She was wide, but it was against maiden claimers, and maybe she can improve, but I don't know if she's going to improve enough to win this race. Maybe she can run underneath. And then the 3 is coming off a big layoff, and I'm not a big fan of the drop off the layoff. I mean, she ran pretty much almost a winning race. The other thing about her is slow out of the gate 2 times. So maybe she's slow out of the gate. Just not a horse I want to take at a short price. And it looks like the 2 and 3 will take more money than the 1 and 6. So I'm against them. So for me, in just kind of evaluating, great plot fit. Think the speed is the 6. And even though the 4 has the square and the 6 has the circle, I think the 6 run style will bust the 4 out. And that will leave it maybe for the 1 to sit a good trip and maybe pick up the 6 late, or the exact 1-6. Who knows? 6-1. 2 and 3, I think more apt to finish second than or third than to win the race. So that's my evaluation. Looking at the plot, the grid, and notes, and trying to come up with an analysis for race 3 at Gulfstream on January the 19th. Hope this is helpful. If you want to hear more of these, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also visit us at opticseq.com. And also, I'm going to have a guest later in the week to go over some races, and hopefully that'll be fun. And thanks for listening. If you want to be a guest, just send us your information on our contact form on our website, again, at opticseq.com. This is John Doyle. Thanks for listening.